You can get this product and so much more at www.safariltd.com. And don't forget to use the coupon code SpinoDude to save 15% on your next order and show your support for the channel. Greetings, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 2013 Safari Ltd Diabloceratops. I really need to start checking up on what years these are before hitting the record button, so I don't need to be scrambling and looking on the underside of the figure. But anyway, this is from a batch that Safari sent us a couple months ago, and we're just finishing up the reviews for those. And this was the last Ceratopsian from Safari that I actually needed to complete my collection of Ceratopsians, and I am planning on making a video showing the whole series so far and just ranking all the Ceratopsians before I clean out my collection and get rid of a few that I'm not too fussed on anymore. But anyway, Diabloceratops, a genus that I'm pretty fond of for its unique head ornamentation. And I think this figure has really held up well over the years. It is a fan favorite. It's a little bit smaller than I was expecting in hand. First of all, the detailing is really nice. I feel like the scales overall are definitely too big in comparison to the scale that this model is replicated at, but the detailing looks really nice and natural overall. Lots of variation in the scales. You have those really large round scales that are going across the body, and of course the more uniform smaller scales. And I really like how the scales get smaller as they go down the limbs, for example, and they get larger as you move up into the body. There's a row of small scoot-like scales running down the spine of the animal. That is a very nice addition. And overall, I just really like the tone musculature and just the general posture of the entire body here. It has a very gentle sort of sway to it, and you can really see it shifting its weight and carrying itself across its Cretaceous landscape. There's really a lot of work that went into portraying that in this piece, and I think it looks really nice overall. For being a figure that is nearly 8 years old now, they did get the number of painted toes right on the front hands, which is something that a lot of Ceratopsian figures get wrong nowadays, but Safari has stayed consistent with producing very accurate and very well done Ceratopsians, of course. The head is where one of the glaring issues comes in for this figure. It's not even that major, it's just something I wanted to point out. But the whole snout here is just a bit too long, and I feel like there could have been some more height variation with the actual nose area on the skull here. If you look at the skull of Diabloceratops, you'd see that its face is a little more squat overall and rounded out at the front, but it's really not too bad and definitely gives you the vibe of Diabloceratops, which is really good. I love the red eye against that black color going down the body, and the frill pattern is beautiful. I love that. It's so simple in concept, but it works so well. Just the big red patches with the black, almost mosaic patterning going on for the eye spots is pretty unique, and I think it works out really well on the rest of the overall very simple color scheme they have here. The horns, of course, look great. They look just like Diabloceratops's horns, but the only other thing I wanted to really talk about with this figure, because I've really covered everything else at this point that I want to say about it, is the way the paint was applied. I have no problem with the colors. I think the colors work really well, but it's very obvious to me that this figure was just molded in a creamy color, and they just took an airbrush with some black paint and just sprayed along the top of the animal. Just because of the way it was applied, you can see that the paint was really being applied from the top down onto this figure. And I think there could have been a little more work put into that to make it feel more uniform with some other Safari figures that I have. The paint on the head is really nice and feels quite classic for Safari Ltd, but the paint on the body in particular, it just feels really simple, and I feel like there could have been a little bit more done there. But anyway, I feel like that was a really short review, but I think that covers my thoughts on this one. I mean, overall, it's a really solid Ceratopsian figure, one of the better figures of Diabloceratops that's out on the market for sure, and it has held up over 8 years with only one minor gripe accuracy-wise, which is the length of the snout, and then one personal gripe for me, which is of course the way the paint is applied, because it's very obvious it was quickly airbrushed across the body. But anyway, yeah, if you want a good figure of Diabloceratops that's not too expensive, highly recommend this one. I think it's a great one. But in case you're wondering how large this figure is in terms of the length from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, we are looking at right around 6 inches, which is right right about 15 centimeters. And in terms of the height at the highest point, which is the top of the horns on the frill, we are looking at right about 2.5 inches, which is about 6.5 centimeters. And for comparison, here's our consistent size comparison with Safari's mascot, Bernie the Gator. And here is my favorite Ceratopsian from Safari right now, which is their 2017 Einiosaurus. And all of Safari's Ceratopsians have been so consistent in quality over the years, and these two are no exception. They look great together. The one thing I wanted to point out is how you can obviously tell that a lot more care went into the paint application on the Einiosaurus. It just feels much more natural, and it feels like it complements the detail that is there much better, but it's not too bad on the Diabloceratops, and there was a 4-year gap between when these figures were released, so there is going to be some difference in production quality. But anyway guys, that is going to do it for my review of this Safari Ltd Diabloceratops. A lot of people have this figure, but if you don't have it and you want to get your own, make sure you go to safariltd.com and use the coupon code SpinoDude at checkout to save 15% on your next order and show your support for the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in my next video. So take care, and bye-bye.